morning, everyone. Um, my name is Cristobal Escobar, and I'll be leading this session about understanding customers and generating insights. First of all, I would like to say that for me and also for the company that I'm representing, R2 Solutions, the open source movement is a significant force for a positive change in the world. So we are really thankful for being here, for this opportunity. I would love this to be a fun and engaging event. So please feel free to ask questions, to raise your hands anytime you want. Please, you're more than welcome. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Cristobal Escobar, as I was saying. I was born in El Salvador 46 years ago. It seems like a lot now. I live in El Salvador for the first 30 years of my life, and I've been living in Spain for the last 16. Actually, I live in Madrid. But I like to think that I belong here, and I belong to Latin America, and we belong anywhere in the world. I'm such a curious person. My wife teases me with this all the time. She calls me Mr. Discovery Channel, actually, which is basically true. I'm always joking with Discovery Channel. I like to say that I'm a marketing guy with a sales brain or something like that. It depends on the day. I'm a big fan of sports, cuisine, traveling, and I'm pretty sure that the learnings that we can get from sports and translate that into your personal life or into business is such a wonderful combination. I like to think that I'm a people person, what the Americans would say, a people person. I love spending time with people that help me discovering books, discovering music, and I like to think that I have a great sense of humor, a little bit dark, actually. So that's part of my personality. And I really think that the things that we have in common normally with most of the people are more than what separates us. I've been being part of the R2 Solutions family since last year. R2 Solutions is a company founded almost 17 years ago in Houston. R2 Solutions has this vision to empower developers with great open source tools for making their lives really easier, and obviously to empower our clients with scalable and robust applications. We have presence in Switzerland, in Spain. Most of our team is in the US. We have also a small team in El Salvador too. And we have clients all over the world, in Asia, in Africa, in all over the world. We have a wide range of services, from custom development to hosting. Basically, we can develop any web solution that you may need. But we also have a line of products that you may know as the Callbox platform, which is maybe our most famous product. We have open source products like Testbox, ContentBox, CommandBox, but we also have SaaS products, Lucy extensions. Well, the portfolio is really wide. We also have this podcast, our own podcast, Modernize or Die, which has new episodes every Tuesday. You can listen to the Modernize or Die podcast in Spotify or almost in any other platform. And that's it about the company. So we are here today to talk about insights. The first question that I would like to raise is, why are insights important in our society? Any idea? Anybody that have something some idea about why do we think that insights are important?
To know our users and take decisions on how to do better for them.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. This guy, Mr. Bill Bernabach, which is actually the father of modern advertising, used to say that insights were really part of the human nature, and that they help us to understand ourselves at the first place, but obviously to understand among us. So with that power, an insight can be the difference between the failure or the success almost of any project. I want to give you two examples of great insights into different businesses. Actually, insights are used not just in the digital world, not just in technological industries, but almost in any industry. But the first example that I want to share with you is about Bing. Bing, as you may know, is the search engine from Microsoft, and basically the marketing team of Bing has a few years ago this enormous challenge to compete against Google. There's no need to say that Google has a very dominant position in the search engines industry. The search engine works really well, and so this competence is like fighting with a giant. So they come up with this idea that was pretty funny at that time, but they decide to go this way, and they say, okay, people use the internet either to save time or to lose time. Either you're looking for something in particular, or you're watching funny cats videos on YouTube. So let's decide what do we want to be. So they came to this conclusion that when you have a small amount of time and you need a really good result, having too much options, actually it is a problem. Actually, having too many options, it's the enemy. So they decide a different approach, and decide that when you want a result, when you want the best flight, the best restaurant, the best car, you need a better option. So they go with the following. This was their advertising at that time.
Streamers and even some yo-yos. What? I meant the bag. Bagpuss, dear bagpuss, old fat furry catpuss. Bagpuss? Bagpipes, bagdad, very long legs. Do you have long legs in a short corset? What are you talking about? You talking to me? You talking to me? Taxi driver 1976.
Next time you're searching online, try Bing, the decision engine from Microsoft.
So instead of calling Bing a search engine, they decided that Bing was going to be a decision engine. The slogan, as you see, is Bing and then decide, Bing and decide. And they came with this idea: if you want to search, use Google. If you want to decide, you need to come to Bing. And it worked really, really well. There's another example in another industry, in the tires industry, Michelin. As you may know, most of advertising in this industry goes about performing. How long do tires last? Basically performance all the time. But they decide to link three things that are pretty obvious, but never has linked that information before. So they decide, number one, many drivers were parents. Number two, parents usually worry a lot about their child. And number three, safety in a car is normally associated with two things: tires and brakes. So if you combine these three elements in the idea of how much is at stake on your tires, the image of a baby sitting next to a tire, basically you hardly have anything else to say. They had a tremendous success with this campaign around babies and tires, because the link was so natural. So, in conclusion, what makes insights so important? Basically, what the idea that I want to share with you is that if you can understand the deepest concerns of customers, you can certainly find an unserved niche or an unserved spot at your market, and you can compete in that niche almost with any giant. So that's the first idea that I want to share with you. The second one is about insights. How can we define insights? Okay, in this point, I think that there are at least 4 elements that we need to take into account. Number one, customers sometimes mislead you with what they say. This is pretty funny, especially if you see what Henry Ford, for example, used to say about this. He says, if I had asked people what they wanted at that time, they would have asked for faster horses, not for cars. So it's funny because that idea that Mr. Henry Ford had a long time ago was basically the same idea that somebody like Steve Jobs developed a little bit later. Steve Jobs seems to have this concept crystal clear. But the question here is, are actually customers trying to cheat on us? I think no. They are not trying to cheat on us. Basically, they don't have the big picture. That's the real problem in here. That sometimes what you say is different on how you behave. So, despite any criticisms that Steve Jobs may have faced in the past, it's hard to deny that he was a marketing genius. And I want to share with you 2 short videos about how he remedied this myopia of people in this industry. And he was basically using images. This is how Mr. Jobs showed us a lot of time ago the type of laptops that we wanted. 1 second.
There's something in the air.
Sorry.
Right? Amazing product here. Full-size keyboard, full-size display. And this is what it looks like. Isn't that amazing? So, let's go explore this in more detail. So again, it fits inside one of these envelopes. It's that small. This is what it looks like. Incredible.
So he uses images, and then he made it again with the relationship that we all want, that we all have now with music.
We're going to focus on the iPod Mini. Now, the iPod Mini is what all of our competitors have their sites focused on. Why? Well, it's obvious. Because the iPod Mini is the most popular MP3 player in the world. It's the most popular iPod, and that makes it the most popular MP3 player in the world. So that's the one everybody's focused on. Well, today, we're going to do something pretty bold. Today, we're going to replace it. We're going to replace it with something new. Now, let's go back to the beginning. Because we started this all with 1,000 songs in your pocket, right? We started it with the original iPod. And then we carried 1,000 songs in your pocket over to the iPod Mini. Well, now we're going to replace the iPod Mini with a new player, an entirely new ground-up design that also has 1,000 songs in your pocket. And it's called the iPod Nano. The iPod Nano is the biggest revolution since the original iPod. A lot of people have worked so hard on this over the last many, many months. And it is my privilege to show it to you now. 1,000 songs in your pocket, the iPod Nano. So, Well, now we know, because this is the new iPod Mac.
Well, basically, amazing. And a picture in this case is more useful than saying absolutely anything. So that's the first idea on defining insights. The second idea, defining insights, that I want to share with you is that normally an insight is not something obvious. We need to go deeper. The real question here is not how to solve a problem, is what is the problem? It's not about what is happening, but why this situation is happening. The third idea, defining insights, it's on how to find insights. And here we have like two different ways of thinking. Some people say, okay, finding an insight is something like a revelation, it's something like serendipity, something really, really related to magic or luck or something like that. But I want to propose to you today that insights may be achieved following a process, following a scientific approach, following some steps, something like what Pablo Picasso used to say, inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. And I would add, it has to find you working with a method. So that's really important for insights. And the last, let's say, point regarding insights is that they must have a business value. Otherwise, it would be just something curious to share with your friends, grabbing a beer any day. But insights must be profitable, must have business value. So, in this part, you may be thinking, okay, in a marketing plan, where does insights can add value? And I'm here to tell you that basically you can find new value in any part of a marketing plan. You can use insights to find new segments or new ways to segment a different market. You can use insights to decide a new target, a new segment. You can use insights to define a unique selling proposal, something really different in any industry, and obviously to design new products, to find new spots, price spots, in all over the marketing strategy. Finding an insight can really add value. So now that, let's hope I have convinced you that insights are important and we have designed what is an insight, you must be asking, okay, great, but where do I find them? What should I do? And I wanted to propose at least 7 sources where you can find insights. These are the seven sources that I would like to propose to you. Now we're going to be looking into examples of each one of them, and we can discuss these industries or almost anyone with this 7 approach. The first one is about analogies. Analogies, it's something funny because in many occasions you can find insights if you compare industries that might not have any relationship. In this case, I want to propose to you a question. What does McDonald's have to do with higher education, for example? Can you see any relationship between them? Is there anything in higher industry that we can learn from McDonald's? I think we have a lot to learn from McDonald's. But the most obvious one is about bundles. Bundles. In higher education, normally you buy a master's degree, you buy an MBA or something like that. But now, some of these new universities have understood this concept and are not selling just an MBA. Now they are selling their MBA combined with their French fries which could be a certificate in digital marketing, certificate in big data, or whatever. So I must say that the Spanish labor market labels professionals by industry, and sometimes it's really hard to move among industries. But in countries like United States, this does not happen. People used to think that if you bring your experience into a different industry, you can have fresh ideas, and those fresh ideas can really bring energy and a lot of new good proposals into a new one. So if you want to have insights in your industry, my proposal would be consider hiring somebody from a different industry. They will bring something new. Maybe they will not be performing from day one at their top level, but if you train them, if you have patience, if you spend time with them, believe me, it will be paid. So that's the first source of insights. The second one is what we call anomalies. What's an anomaly? Well, basically it's a deviation in data. That deviation in data could be in a particular segment, it could be in a particular product, it could be in a specific country or in a specific region, it could be in a gender segmentation, it could be anywhere. Something that seems strange from your point of view. And I want to share with you a real story about Lipton tea. Lipton tea noticed something really interesting in Saudi Arabia. And it was like, it was that their sales peak in summer, not in winter. And it was, I mean, it was funny at that time because with almost 50 degrees Celsius in Saudi Arabia, they asked, who the heck is drinking coffee, hot tea in here? So they went to Saudi Arabia and get this, and have a meeting with the local team and ask, hey, what are you doing? And the local team says, hey, we were desperate. We were not selling anything, so we found a way to pulverize tea and to mix it with ice. And that's how Nestea was born. And nowadays, it's more important, the cold Nestea, it's huge if you compare that with hot tea. So this is a real anomaly insight that they discovered, and it changed the performance of the company. The third source of insight is what we call confluence. Basic confluence is the intersection of two trends. Something really, really funny in here is what happened if you mixed related to social media, if you mix our need to share everything that is happening in our lives with the concern about privacy. So a company called Snapshot mixed these two trends and developed this new concept of sharing things, but just for a few times. And now companies like Facebook with Instagram stories, or even LinkedIn, or everybody has copied this concept. But at that point, it was absolutely something new. The next one is what we call voyages. Voyages basically is trying to understand the context where your customers spend most of the time. And here, the story is related to Gillette. Gillette has this great idea. It was, okay, let's create razors for 300 million of Indian people that does not use professional razors. It was a great opportunity. So they did this research. They thought, okay, if we want to sell professional razors for Indian people, we need to develop a product especially for them. So they choose a lot of people from India and did this enormous amount of focus group with them in Boston. So they developed a great concept, a new concept. The product was amazing, and when they launched the product in India, it was a complete disaster. So they made this trip to India, to a city called Lahore, actually. No, sorry, to a village called Bihar, and had an interview with local ones, and asked, please use the product with me, and let me see what's the problem. So a guy took a glass, took the razor, and start shaving in front of the people, and somebody from the marketing team says, no, you're doing it wrong. You're going to clog the razor because you need tap water to clean the razor. And the guy says, what tap water? I don't have tap water here. I don't have a faucet. I go every day to the well and use my glass. So the Bostonian guys that was from India really had Indian hair, but they have also tap water. So not understanding the context of your customer could be really, really dangerous. The next one, this was a wonderful picture for them. The next one is extremities. There's a saying that there are clients with whom you win, and there are clients that you learn from. And basically, this is the idea here. We are looking for diversity in using this source. We are not using, or we are not trying to find where's the average of a customer. If you look into those early adopters in your industry, they will show you the future of your market. And sometimes these early adopters may be, or might be something strange, but on the other side, if you look at those ludities of those people that does not buy from you, they will show you really cool information. If you normally analyze your behavior in our CRMs, we are normally not paying attention to those people that does not buy from us. So there's a lot of information in people that's not bought from us. The next source of insights would be what we call orthodoxies. It's questioning some ideas in your industry that might think to be impossible to move. The example here is obviously the hotel industry. The hotel industry, if you need to think about something that that seems to be written in stone, is the check-in and the check-out times in hotels. And a company called Capella Resort said, hey, let's question it. What would we need to have check-ins and check-outs anytime during the day? And somebody said, hey, we would need soundproofed rooms because no one wants to stay in a room with so much noise. And somebody else says, well, that's an option, but we could also buy silent cars and silent vacuum cleaners, and we can have a 24-hour shift to do the housekeeping and to do the laundry, and it worked out really, really well. Especially if you have a flight and you arrive in any city at 6 a.m., you don't need to spend any 8 hours thinking about what to do with your life. And the last one, it's frustrations. Basically, you need to discover what sucks in an industry and improve it. There are plenty of examples in this source. Obviously, Airbnb, born from a frustration in the hotel industry. Netflix were born with the frustration with Blockbuster. Cabify, Uber were born with frustration from the taxi industry. So there are frustrations all over the world. All you need to ask yourself is what makes you feel frustrated, and then you will have sources for insights, definitely. The fifth idea that I want to share with you is about going beyond the voice of the customers. We were saying at the beginning of the presentation that this is not about hearing what the customer needs to say. It's about watching them. Normally, we use surveys, we use focus groups, we use in-depth interviews. But I think we need to expand the range of ways we learn about customers. At the end of the day, we need to see their behavior. And there are two approaches to learn from the customers: the inductive learning and the deductive learning. And what I want to share with you is that we need both of them. Maybe the idea is to start with inductive learning to generate hypotheses. The idea here is to find diversity, and then you need to test those hypotheses with deductive learning. I like to say that inductive learning gives you eyes, and that's wonderful, but you may need legs. At the end of the day, having a different idea is not enough. You need to run numbers. You need to make sure that that information has valid statistically validity. So there are at least 3 techniques that I want to share with you to find these insights. The first one is what we call ethnography. Ethnography, it's basically a qualitative method for collecting data in social behavioral sciences. The idea here is to watch your customers using your product, using your service, misusing your product or your services, watching your customers having trouble with them, with your products, looking how they solve those products. That's the idea. Sometimes you can find that customers have contradictions on their behavior, and the only way to see that is on their context. The second technique is what we call customer experience mapping or customer journeys, which basically is a complex template that you can find almost anywhere on the web. But the idea is to record and to reflect onto the different stages of making a decision. You need to find what are the stages, what are the emotions related to those stages, what are the thoughts related to those stages, and where is happening every part of the process. Journey mapping or a customer experience mapping must be something like this. This is for the book, for the travel industry. This is the customer journey when you're trying to book a flight. And it has a lot of information. It brings a lot of opportunities to find new insights. So that's the second one. And the last one is what we call human factors research. This is a scientific discipline that applies knowledge of human limitations. Those limitations could be almost of any type. This is a really useful technique, especially if you're deciding how to design a new product. If you consider, for example, yesterday I came from Madrid in the silent train from Renfe. They have, I mean, it's the same product, but they have the opportunity to get more income just for closing one part of the train. That's wonderful, and that's this approach, exactly this approach. There are plenty of opportunities to make small changes in your products or in your services that could get more profit. So they say that at the end of the day, a fool with a tool is still a fool. So the important part here is knowing where or when to use each one of these techniques. The first one, ethnography, it's really useful if you need to understand one specific segment, and that segment is a little bit complex. The customer journey is really useful in higher industries, in high-ticket industries, sorry. And the human factors research, it's really useful when you have complicated interfaces of your product with other products. So nowadays, especially with AI, social data has a lot of opportunities for us. If you bring artificial intelligence into the generation of insights, obviously you can process a lot of information in really small time. You can use different languages, you can use basically any geography, and instead of being aware of physical behavior, you can use virtual behavior. So the opportunities here are wonderful. Then you would need to find a process for mining this data, but the process is basically the same. I want to share with you this example. After listening to millions of conversations, a pharmaceutical company find these 8 segments of people that has headaches. Obviously, the emotions and the opportunities on each one of these segments are different, and it brings a whole new environment. So, just to end the presentation, I want to share with you this example. I think this video shows a very powerful example of how insights combined with stories can really get into our emotional core. This story happened in India, specifically when India was undivided, specifically to a city of Lahore. And this is a story of revolves around memories of 2 dear childhood friends, and what happens after the historic partition of India in 1947. So, sorry, I'm gonna open this in YouTube because without not working. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, um, basically, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Um, I think it's a great example of how insights combined with great storytelling could be really, really powerful. In this case, Google wants us to think that they are not just about search, that they are about bringing people together, that they are about breaking boundaries, physical boundaries, boundaries of geography, or boundaries about time. And the last thing that I want to share with you is, have you noticed how many times the brand was shown on the video? It was like 10 or 12 times. But in a good brand storytelling, the brand is like oxygen. I mean, it's everywhere, but it fits naturally. It's essential to the story, but it's not something that feels forced at all. So I think we can have just a different session about brand storytelling, but I guess it would be maybe next year. So thank you very much for your time. If you want to remember what impact can have insights in a marketing plan, have this slide in mind. It could be almost anywhere. And for me, the most important part is making the habit of always keep looking for new insights. That's the most important part. And thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please. Thank you very much.